I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record against the Indianapolis Colts because I was a punter, and there's no reason for me to talk about that. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am to begin.
Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash a scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They seeing double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
All right. And we are back. We are back after a very, very eventful weekend this past weekend. We saw some new faces come in, but we're gonna go over all of that in a second. Like I said, we're gonna give people a couple minutes to go ahead and just get in and get their bearings because we got some stuff coming up. So yeah, just make sure that you go ahead and stay tuned. In the meantime, guys, other than the draft, how was your weekend?
It's good. It was a good weekend.
Oh, it was great for me as well. Took my son to the WWE event on Sunday, the Sunday Stunner. He was excited.
That's like the house show, right? It's like that's the one where
It was pretty good. Saw some familiar faces that we see all the time when we're watching on Monday Night Raw. So
yep.
It's pretty cool.
No, that's dope. I like that. It was definitely. It looked like it was pretty fun. So I was very happy got to experience that because that's a huge thing. Kids love those types of events. They don't even have to know what's going on. As long as they're okay with loud noises, they're completely fine.
Yeah, all the animated kicks and stuff like that and slaps and all that. He was just looking like, Dad. He slapped him. I say, no, he didn't. But, but hey, if you want to believe that, go ahead and believe it.
Exactly. Like I said, we're completely fine with that. It's just like I said, it's just like anything else. You're selling the kids a dream. So yeah. So it is what it is. But yeah. So in the meantime, we can just go ahead and get started because, like I said, people are going to be coming in. But welcome back to the HorseShoe Mob podcast. We're bringing you all things Colts all the time. And I mean, what a great occasion to go ahead and come back after the Colts finally select somebody who's under the age of 40, who isn't closer to the age of 40 than they are to the age of 20. But you know what? We're going to get into that. So in the meantime, let's just go ahead and introduce you to the guys. We have with us Austin Cook, everybody.
Hey, what's up? I'm Austin.
All right. And then we have Mr. Josh Senior. And that's not senior, that's senior.
Was good, everybody. And I want to take a quick second to appreciate all the members that have been tuning in and following the Twitter page. It's been outstanding. All the feedback we've been getting has been outstanding. Continue following us in our journey. Just watch us grow, and we're gonna grow together.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm Chris Jackson. So, like I said, without further ado, let's just get into it. But you know what? We do have a comment coming in. It's just like, is it just me or does Irsay look sick? Well, he's old. So, I mean, at this point, you never know. I mean, it's always kind of tough to know like where he's at. I mean, he clearly dyed his hair because, I mean, the man came out with brown hair, looking like the top of the That's fine.
If you want to say Sick as in the way his parents, or sick in forcing the Titans to trade up to get Will Levis in the second round? Because that was sick as hell.
that was the sickest thing. That was wow. Yeah, that was rough. But yeah, so you know what? Before we go any further, I do want to say, um, go make sure that you are visiting www.fanbattlesports.com. That's where you'll be able to find articles, past podcast, everything. Matter of fact, the article that was written for our podcast will be posted on there tonight. So definitely make sure that you tune in. That's www.fanbattlesports.com. And yeah, you can go on there and check it out. And like I said, without further ado, we have the draft this weekend. And much to the whole entire fan base's happiness, and our prayers were answered because Chris Ballard didn't trade down. He stayed at 4. And
Yes.
with that pick at 4, the Colts selected Anthony Richardson. How are we feeling about that? And what was the initial thought seeing that we were getting Richardson?
Well, my reaction was, I guess you can say overkill, because I think right after he got drafted, I ordered his jersey. So that's how happy I am. That's how happy I am, and still am. And it's Tuesday. I'm still excited for the pick because of the potential he has. I mean, I knew we weren't getting Bryce, and I knew we wasn't getting Stroud. So the next pick after that would be Anthony Richardson, and we got the guy that we wanted. Especially, we all said anybody but Levis, but Anthony Richardson is an athlete. I mean, a guy can. I mean, we know the guy got the arm talent and he got the legs.
Yeah.
But he's a raw talent that we're gonna have to develop, and we don't know how quick his development will be. But I love the potential in the future.
Yeah. And what about you, Austin?
I was excited when we drafted him. We've all watched everything that's happened before the draft. We all said, like Josh said, anybody but Levis. And I feel like we definitely got the best athlete in the draft, and I feel like he will turn into a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Just with who we have, like we've all said, Shane Steichen is a good coach for him, and the quarterback coach we brought in is also a good coach for him. And just watching videos that the Colts put out or other people put out on him, it's just fun to watch him play.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joseph Ross says, "Go Colts Nation." Thank you, Joseph. Absolutely. And I think one thing that people were saying with Anthony Richardson is the fact that he's very young. Like, he's a young prospect. I think he's 20.
Yeah, he's
So
20.
you have somebody who not only are they young, but it's just like they're super athletic. And you've seen what he can do in college. It's just like, they're talking about accuracy, but this isn't accuracy from perspective of someone who is 23, 24. You're talking about somebody who still needs to work on accuracy, but is probably going to be able to absorb that information and absorb that playbook like a sponge. I think on the page they posted the clip of Steve Mariucci showing him a play that he ran with the 49ers offense, and he was able to go ahead and give him the feedback on the play verbatim, having him draw the exact same play up, which, to be able to do that on the fly like that, it's just like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when we're talking about him and what he's going to be able to bring to the table, he's a raw talent who's going to have to learn, but at the same time, you're also dealing with a head coach who's a former offensive coordinator who knew how to make sure to put people in spots where they didn't have to overdo it. Like Jalen Hurts was fantastic last year because of the fact that he was able to put it together with his legs, but then also with his arm. And he didn't put him in bad situations. And I don't think that we're going to see that from Shane Steichen here either.
But see, nobody's mentioned the fact that Jalen had bad completion percentage in college as well. No one discussed that, how his completion went up, maybe a couple slots up, which is an improvement. The guy was almost, an MVP. He was just, close to getting an MVP. And I mean, he ain't got paid. So I mean, people don't understand that Steichen is a quarterback. He's actually he's 37 years old. So he 37-year-old quarterback. He's developed, Justin Herbert. I wouldn't say Phil Rivers because Phil Rivers was already in his prime, but he helped his mechanics. And then, like I said, the latest was with Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Even if we see a small sample of Anthony Richardson, that's better than we had the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a small sample until he gets to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and you also have to remember that once again, we're not taking a retread. We're not taking on somebody who was formerly good and then we have to see what they can do now. We're taking on somebody who's going to be young, who's going to be able to come in and learn a new system as a new quarterback. Right. I mean, athleticism is going to be probably one of the biggest assets because now you don't have an offense that won't be able to do play action. You don't have an offense that won't be able to do RPOs because you weren't able to do that with Matt Ryan when he was here. To a certain extent, you weren't able to do that with Phillip Rivers. You kind of had that with Carson Wentz, but we know how much Carson Wentz would, panic in the pocket as opposed to where
he was reckless.
Yeah, he was reckless. But the thing is, we're not going to have that one thing as far as recklessness goes. But then we do have a comment here, so hold on. Then we have Ronald said, the one thing we know with Richardson is our offense won't be as vanilla and boring. It will be nice to know we actually have big playability because last year we had the worst, most boring offense in the league. And that's correct.
I agree, Ryan.
That's absolutely correct because, I mean, we had a boring quarterback. We had a quarterback who couldn't make plays with his legs. I mean, honestly, this man scrambled out the pocket and you thought that he might actually die. Like we thought that he was just absolutely done for. Yes. And so now you have a player who, is just much bigger, much stronger, who is much more athletic, but I mean, that's what it is. And then we have Josh Allen telling us that Titans offense was more boring. It was only boring because they had an O-lineman playing wide receiver. That's the only reason why it was more boring. Because, I mean, they had a wide receiver who was about 2 visits to Krispy Kreme away from being able to play center. So
and another one that was trash anyway, and Bobby Trees.
Bobby Trees. That is awful. And then we have so here's something I would like to point out. So RJ Ellison is a tried and true Titans fan, right? However, we were told that the Titans were going to trade up to 3 to draft Anthony Richardson, and we will be stuck with Will Levis. This is what we were told.
Yep.
By RJ Ellison, and then
Marco too, and Marco.
And yep, and then now he is saying that Will Levis is better than Anthony Richardson. RJ, rather than commenting, I'd like for you to just go ahead and hop in because there's a few times that I want to flame broil somebody as much as I would like to right now. Unless you're busy having a Mayo Fest over there, now that you know that Will Levis is in town.
Send the invite to him. I can do it if you need me to.
No, he knows how to get on the StreamYard. We're live on here. And then Josh says Ryan Tannehill is the QB equivalent of watching glue dry. This is also very true. All right. So he said, I came on here just in time. All right. Hey, listen. We love the discourse because we love being able to go ahead and make sure that we show people just how wrong they were all along. But I digress. So in the meantime, back to what we were talking about with Anthony Richardson. We knew for a fact that he was going to be an athletic prospect. And, now that Chris Ballard actually has the opportunity to draft a quarterback, especially this high, since, we actually have a first-round pick for the first time in a long time. I mean, honestly, I think it was probably a pick where, Bryce was going to go to 1, CJ Stroud going to was like a little bit surprising, but you knew they were going to go with the quarterback. So I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I mean, there were about 29 other teams that passed on a quarterback, and waited until the next round to get Will Levis. But we're not going to say which team that is yet. so then moving right along, we go to the next pick that we had in the second round. Now, this is when Chris Ballard did what Chris Ballard does. We have pick 35. He traded down once, and then he traded down again. So at pick 44, we ended up getting Julius Brents.
Juju.
Yes. Now, and I'm gonna, Josh, since you said that, how do we feel about this particular pick?
I felt good about it because it shows that we traded away our All-Pro corner and Stephon Gilmore, and we read up with another corner that's lanky, big, not the fastest, but he showed he can cover. And we got a lot of I think that was a grade A for that round getting him. Because he's a talented cornerback from that conference. I mean, I love the pick. I still love it. I mean, and he didn't stop getting corners after that. He kept getting them. But this one I like the most. Out of all the corners that he got, this is the one I like the most.
Yeah.
But he got the highest potential. I think he's like 6'2". I think he was almost 200 pounds. 6'3", 200 pounds.
Yes. Yeah, he's 6'3", yep. But wait, hold on. Before we go any further, boo this man.
What's going on?
There he is.
Hey, I'm always ready, man.
Welcome, RJ. Welcome on here. I know that I've come on to the Titans Mayoseum, and I've roasted y'all before. So you know what? I feel like we had to do this. Like we it had to happen. It had to happen. So
hey,
now,
man, look, I'm happy to hop on here, man. I've been waiting to hop on the Colts broadcast for a good little minute, man. I got to hop on the Jaguars and Texas one too, man. So
hey, I'm completely okay with that. So you know what? Let's just get straight to it. You gonna eat your crow now, or you gonna eat it later?
Hey, look, man, I got a minute and 2 seconds before the Lakers come on. So I gotta. Hey, man, I can't believe we drafted.
Damn that. We have a whole offseason of you just saying that the Titans were going to go to 3, pick Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud, and that we were going to be stuck with Will Levis. And you go with Will Levis, and we have Anthony Richardson. And now you're saying Will Levis is going to be the best QB in the AFC South. Sir, make it make sense.
No, man, I ain't see. Look, now you stretching it. I just say he better than AR, man. I don't think he gonna be better than Trevor Lawrence. Like that little bit. It's baby still. Right now, I gotta look at the stats. I got. It's a job to troll like this, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a job.
Man, I saw that come in. I said, "Oh hell no!"
Yo,
no goddamn way.
Yo, I legit.
I can't say nothing about Will Levis now because I still don't like the pick. But I gotta think of something. I gotta think of something.
First of all, you didn't like the first round pick either because y'all reaction was like, don't go O-line. And then Peter came popped up. He's like, all y'all was disappointed.
Yeah, we were sick, bro. Cause we all wanted Jackson Smith-Njigba, man. That was the guy. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know his skill set, you know what I'm saying? But, we had to realize maybe he just didn't fit my Vrabel system, you know what I'm saying? But the more I read up on Skoronski, man, the more I'm starting to like him, man. The more I've been hearing about him from his former coaches and people around the Big Ten, the more I'm starting to like him, his versatility, all that stuff. But Will Levis, man, it's gonna take me a minute to get used to that, man. He's going to have to show me.
So now you got a problem because, Malik Willis got his number.
Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work. I think Malik Willis probably at this point gonna get traded, man. Maybe we got to get something out of him, man. Because unless we're gonna move him to wide receiver, because we ain't got no receivers outside of Burks. So I don't know what we're doing.
You really don't. And just being completely honest, with the way that things have happened, it's just like because Burks, you really don't know what you're getting with Burks now. Is he a number one? I don't think you guys did anything with wide receiver.
I think
he
has the skill set. I think he has the skill set to be a number one. He hasn't exploded and been that guy yet. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see more from him this season. Obviously, I can't put AJ Brown expectations on him, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? AJ Brown came in year one and was our wide receiver one. Like, we knew right out the bat. But Burks, I mean, like Burks had some games, man, where he showed wide receiver one potential. Like, you go watch the Packers game, he had a bunch of big catches that game. You know what I'm saying? There's I think the game against y'all, he had a good game. You know, he's had a couple good games.
And the Packers game, right? You said Packers already?
Yeah, that was when he went against Jair, and I ain't gonna lie, he mossed him a couple times, and that was a game I was like, okay, that's the Bengals game. He had a huge catch against the Bengals too. If you go watch the Bengals game, he had a good game that time. But like I said, he's shown it, but he has to be more consistent with it. So that's where I'm at with him. I need more consistency, but hopefully him coming to training camp in shape should definitely help that out because he wasn't ready for the NFL.
Listen. I don't know. I heard that y'all built a lot more fast food chains in that area, so you never know.
Hey man, out here, man, we got a Whataburger, we got a Raging Cane's, man. You know what I'm saying? I was happy. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like y'all have increased the amount of fast food restaurants he will visit in a day. So it's just like now
So what about that other pick that was head scratching the running back out of Tulane? That surprised me because you got Hackens last year.
Yeah, that surprised me just because I mean, you saw me in the group chat, man. I was in there like, man, a running back, bro. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, at this point, like, see, this is how I am with this draft. Like, yeah, outside of wide receiver position, which is clearly a need for us. I think Brand Carthon answered all the questions I had about this offense. We needed a running back that was going to spell Henry. We needed to boost up this offensive line. I think we did that. We got our answer at quarterback. I'm not gonna say he's the answer, but we actually have a answer at quarterback whenever Ryan Tannehill's contract is up. We also got a tight end that can be a complement to Chig. You know what I'm saying? He's everything that Chig isn't. You know what I'm saying? Chig he's smaller, he's fast. You know what I'm saying? He's more so a burn you type tight end, while Wiley's more so a tall, big. You know what I'm saying? He got some wiggle to him. You know what I'm saying? Runs routes. He can block.
Yeah.
A lot better.
That's the guy I wanted.
Yeah, Wiley's really good, man. For what I seen, he didn't get the ball thrown to him a lot in Cincinnati though. Which I was looking at his number, I'm like, there's no production. But I mean, when you look at his tape,
the quarterback Ritter was sorry. Let's just say it. Ritter.
I feel sorry for the Falcons, man. That's gonna be their quarterback from here on out, man. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? One thing I do want to make sure is that we don't skip over this Will Levis thing. So you know what? Like this
we'll get back to that. Yeah,
we did like you do realize that the Titans getting Will Levis, the man who on video put mayonnaise in his coffee and drank it, means that you will never be able to.
Yeah, we're never escaping these Mayo jokes.
The Mayo jokes are forever now. Like before, it was just like, okay, we were able to just kind of joke around about it, whatever. But it's just like y'all drafted the one quarterback in the draft or that ever in NFL history put mayonnaise in his coffee and ate a banana with the peel still on. Like,
maybe that means he the guy. You know what I'm saying? You never know, man. He put mayo in the coffee. We a mayo franchise.
Yeah, that means he's either the guy or he's feral. I mean, he's probably feral if we're being honest. Like it's just
the thing is the Titans brass was so excited from Rand, from Amy, and Mike Vrabel was all excited when they called him. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. You got Amy's like, we're excited to have you. I'm like, what?
Will Levis, man. Like, I mean, like I said, I've done some research on him. So apparently his 2021 season, he had a good offensive line. He had good wide receivers. He had Wan'Dale Robinson, you know what I'm saying? And he obviously had the running backs. He always had some good running backs at Kentucky. And they said that, that was his most productive season. That was a season where that got him into the first round conversations. Right. This year that happened this season, because I mean, I'm a big Vols fan. I watch SEC football every Saturday. So what I seen this season, man, it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, and I talked to some Kentucky fans. I know some Kentucky football fans, and they were telling me that they didn't have an offensive line last year, so he had constantly had pressure in his face. He had nothing but freshman wide receivers this season. But my thing is though, why is he only a good quarterback when the situation is good? You know what I'm saying? You look at Alabama. You look at Bryce Young, when he lost all his receivers, he was still the same quarterback that he was last year. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, and that put him in those conversations.
Besides a couple games, but we're not going to talk about
No, the Tennessee game, man.
The LSU game too.
Yeah, that it just, man, like Bryce Young, man. I told people, but you remember when people were saying CJ Stroud been here, I said, nah, Bryce Young by far to me is the best quarterback. And I hate Alabama, and I'm like, dude, that dude, man, he put Alabama on his back. Like,
Yeah,
you feel
yeah,
me?
because Alabama was not the typical Alabama team you normally have. Like they had a bunch of games where they were in like absolute like drag out fights, with second string quarterbacks, third string quarterbacks this season, and it just wasn't the typical Alabama team.
The problem was Bill O'Brien, and he is gone.
Yeah, that's what a lot of Alabama fans are saying. It's Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden, man. They said they were holding y'all back, and I was like, man, Alabama always talented, man. It had to been the coaching, but I say though, I talk about Anthony Richardson, man. What I saw from it, man, I'm scared of with y'all with Anthony Richardson is what he can become. Not what he is right now. Not what he is right now, because right now I just don't think he's ready. But if he puts it all together with that arm and that speed that he has, man, he can become a great quarterback, man. Like, he'll probably be the best quarterback in our division easily. I hope somebody's a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. I'm just tired of the Jag fan.
Well, we've seen what the division, we've seen in the division what quarterbacks that can scrum and do, such as Watson. He was electrifying. So we bring that back. CJ's not a runner. He can run, but he's not a threat at running. He's not that guy. Anthony will run and run you over. And we have not seen that in this division. I mean, you can say Vince Young, but Vince Young was
he wasn't. I mean, Vince Young, he had his runs here and there, but like he was never the franchise quarterback for us. I mean, he was just, he had his good games. He was inconsistent, kind of like Mariota.
Well, Jeff Fisher didn't allow him to be who he was at Texas. He wanted him to throw a lot. And see, that's why I'm saying, like, with us, we didn't even mention this, but I was talking with other fans. I was like, you have to build the offense around his skill set, Anthony Richardson. Don't make him a sit in the pocket quarterback. That's not who he is. Allow him to be a guy like maybe Cam, maybe like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was allowed to be who he was. Now he got paid. He might have to, take a step back and throw the ball a little bit more because he's getting guaranteed money. But allow Richardson to be who he is. If he can run for 10, 15 yards, allow him to run because that's his game. Don't make him sit back there and throw it, and that's not his game. That's just one of his weaknesses. But he can improve in that aspect, but don't sit there and make him be that guy to throw the ball 28 times.
And that's the one thing I always, even though, like I said, I hate y'all, I despise y'all, but I will be crazy what to do, man. You know what I'm saying? You guys have always had quarterbacks, man, since Unitas, man. You know what I'm saying? You guys have always had quarterbacks. You guys can proven that you can develop quarterbacks, even from when you seen Peyton Manning his first year to his second year. You've seen the development. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, I feel like Anthony Richardson went to the right franchise because he can develop. You guys can develop. You know what I'm saying? My franchise, the problem I'm having is we've never developed a quarterback outside of Steve McNair. And I mean, we got Tannehill. Tannehill was already developed by the time he got to us. You know what I'm saying? He kind of developed himself.
And even then, he was able to go into a system where it's just like it wasn't solely dependent on his arm. Like, he basically was the complement to a running game that they then established. And now things are a little bit different now, but we got a couple of comments, and then you could go ahead and get out of here, and then you can continue to dream about Will Levis. So he said, so Ron says RJ took a bigger step back on Levis than James Harden jumper. It's just like, okay, I appreciate that. Then Ashley says, I'm excited. He says, I think AR is hers 2.0. And then he said, yuck to the mayo and the coffee, even though that is going to now be a Tennessee staple. And then we have Ron said tonight's Titans game is sponsored by Duke's Mayo. If you go Dukes, then you're dropping nukes, which sounds about right. And then we said Harish says, is this the Mayo show? So yes. So in the meantime, RJ, we'll go ahead and let you go tell the people where they can find you and when.
Yes, sir. Find me on Twitter, man. You can find me at the RJ Show at the underscore between the T and the W, man. So you can also find me on what's the name? You find me on Titans Coliseum podcast. Me, Firestone, and Morocco, man.
On Thursday,
man. So
Yeah.
Thursday at 8:30 Central.
Yeah, Thursday at 8:30, man. You know what I'm saying? If you guys are no there's plenty of Colts fan watching this, you know what I'm saying? You guys want to come on there and troll, man, you can, man. We love trolls.
So, you know I will. You know I will. But hey, man, on that note, RJ, thank you for coming on. Always remember that presidents are temporary, but male jokes are forever.
Yeah, we stuck with them now, man.
Yes, absolutely. All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for coming on.
All right,
no
man.
problem.
All right, and yeah, so just like that was nice. We had to RJ. We thank you for being a sport and coming on because we know many Titans fans wouldn't do that normally. So yeah, but then so back to our Julius Brents because we were talking about that, and then Austin. I know you were talking about Julius Brents in terms of the height. I'm gonna say I wasn't necessarily looking at Julius Brent. I think Cam Smith from South Carolina really caught my eye more. But I looked at Julius Brents afterwards, and I mean, for him to have, the height, the speed, just to be able to have the arm length, to be disruptive, and then also remember that Gus Bradley's system with the way that he runs, he likes to do a cover 3, but he likes those corners who are rangier corners. So he likes those guys who are generally taller guys. They have the Richard Sherman type build. I mean, these are the people that he was looking to have last year that may not necessarily fit that Kenny Moore type of. I'm going to say that may not fit that Kenny Moore that fold.
He failed because he brought Fiason over there, who was 6'2", but was a bum.
Oh yeah, well we knew he was a bum. We knew he was a bum. I mean, he came over there from being the 5th corner on the Raiders. Now, mind you, this is a Raiders team that generally secondary was not good. So you mean to tell me that in a secondary room that's not good, you're the 5th guy, and then you're going to come over here and you're going to be what? The 2nd? No, absolutely not. No, that's garbage. Absolutely not. We have some more comments coming in. Brandon says, love our draft class. I feel like we drafted a bunch of fun players that we actually needed. Ballard masterclass.
Yeah.
Then he says, we can't even get the Titans fans on the main show. He says, maybe RJ got an NIL deal to appear today. I mean, yeah, maybe I think he got possibly a year's supply of Miracle Whip. So that's the reason why he decided that he was going to come on. So, you know how Titans, they love their condiments. So, hey, why not? So, in the meantime, moving on. So, I know that they said that there was a couple spots. The next thing that they said, they were just like, I know that we said that we needed quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver, O-line.
Yes.
Boom. Ballard goes Josh Downs in the 3rd round. This pick was surprising in a good way because we actually needed another wide receiver.
Right.
I wasn't a fan of the Isaiah McKenzie pick, but this right here was okay, this was a fantastic pick. How and Austin, how do we feel about this when this was an immediate need? I know that we got Isaiah McKenzie. I wasn't a fan of that. But how do we feel about it? It's just seeing, the investment in, once again, getting a quarterback and then getting him a weapon in the same draft.
Yeah. I mean, watching Downs play in college, he's a really good route runner, very fast, has great hands. He can catch about anything, which is good for a quarterback like Anthony Richardson that may have a few struggles this year. He's a smaller guy, but I think that's okay. It's not a normal wide receiver pick for Ballard, but I think that's what makes it even better because and like Reggie saying that he thought he was the best wide receiver in the draft. Reggie ain't just gonna say something to say it. If he says it, I think he means it. So I mean, I'm excited. I like this pick. It's given kind of like Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it definitely does because having that chemistry from day one is important. And then on top of that, you do have veterans who aren't older guys, like how Reggie was a little bit older by the time T.Y. got there. Whereas now it's just you got, you actually have somebody who, is, coming in, same age, has that explosiveness. It's just like I can see them, running some of those gadget plays that we've come to see, that we've come to like, but haven't been really able to get, that type of production because of who we've had under center. So, I mean, I think that's going to be exciting to watch, but we're going to go, people going crazy. It's just like, and it's just like my favorite pick of the draft, Josh Downs. Josh Downs is absolutely, I'm just saying, probably one of the most underrated. I think Josh Downs probably was very underrated in how he was, because this was a wide receiver class that wasn't really talked about. I think, after people talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba, maybe some people talking about Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, the people weren't talking about it, but Josh Downs, with everything that he's able to do, is just like, this was very, very, very underrated in terms of grabbing a weapon like this. And then we have Josh Downs with crazy value. Yeah. And it's just like there was a lot of value in that pick. So out of everything that I mentioned, then we had quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver. And then, of course, we're addressing the big elephant in the room because our O-line was not that great. So what does Ballard do? Picks up Blake Freeland. So, Josh, how did you feel about this one?
I mean, I felt good. I mean, I feel like if you get a quarterback in the draft, you got to get protection. You got to get a guy who's played both tackle positions. He played right and left tackle. When we talked about it in the chat, we could possibly move Bray Smith in at guard and put him at tackle, right tackle. That's how good he is. He's very athletic. He's really good. Analysts they raved a lot about him. They were saying that it was a good pick that we needed. And I agree with them. I agree. I mean, like I said, you got another body to protect your quarterback. That's going to be your long-term asset. So you got a guy that is just as athletic as Nelson. He's a freak. I think he had one of the highest. I think he had one of the highest combines as an offensive line.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think he had so Freeland, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he had the highest. I think he had the highest vertical. I could be wrong. I think he had the highest vertical.
Yeah, double check that, because I thought I read that or was listening to it. I think he had one of the highest verticals in the draft, which is good for O-line.
Yeah. So Harish says, he said DeJuan Jones was there for the taking all day. I feel like this was a miss. Then he said Freeland is just another Ryman. I don't know if he plays immediately. So the way that I'm going to say that I view it, and I don't know if anybody disagrees, then, like I said, you can tell me why. But the way that I see it is the way that this offense is going to go, I think this is going to be less about, because it's always going to be about protection, but I think it's going to be less about scheme and more about the athleticism, because I think this offense is going to be moving light years faster than what we've seen in the last few years. You had Matt Ryan under center last year, and the O-line had to sit in there and protect because Matt Ryan can't move around the pocket. And I mean, he was a stick in the mud. With Anthony Richardson, if for some reason plays break down, you have guys who will just be able to design plays. So, you'll have people going out the backfield. You have people moving around, maybe doing short routes, possibly going and making sure that they're making his job much easier. So I don't foresee, even if you have somebody like Freeland, I mean, I think he's also 6'8", 320.
I think he was like 6'7", but
6'7", yeah. But the thing is, he's a big body, and he's a big body that's not Matt Pryor, and I think that's going to go much better for Anthony Richardson. Should he be starting from day one? And he said that doesn't mean he was a bad pick versus he wasn't the right pick. I get that. I mean, like I said, he may not have been the right pick, but I think that even with missing on DeJuan Jones, the fact that and Emil Ekiyor went undrafted. So I think Ekiyor might have a chance to possibly come in from day one and actually make an impact.
Let's go.
Ekiyor, I don't know how he went undrafted, but I think he might actually be like the biggest steal of ours that wasn't, initially drafted by us. So I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's going to be a big, big pickup. Yeah,
You're right.
he said,
He got the potential to play a guard. He got the potential.
yeah.
And beat out Penner. Well, Penner
I
Fries.
anybody that I think anybody that we drafted can play guard and probably beat out Pinter because Pinter's he's a third stringer. He's a depth lineman.
He's a
you're saying he's
good
best at
center.
center. Yeah, center. Yeah, I was about to say that.
I don't, but I'm not there because the thing is I get like center's a little bit different, but at the same time he was barely serviceable just blocking in regular situations. And now you're telling him that he needs to hike the ball and then block. You're adding an extra step to somebody who couldn't do the most basic of steps correctly. I don't think that it was I just don't think that he's I don't think that Pinter's it. I feel like they took that year off. Ballard was cheap, and they let him go. I mean, I know that you guys may feel differently, but I'm just not there in terms of how I feel with Pinter on that one.
I'm okay with our guys being where we at now, for as Kelly being center, Nelson being left guard, Ryman being left tackle, and either put Smith in at right guard and put Freeland at left tackle. I mean right tackle.
Yeah. All right, and that's fine. He said he was a bigger impact pickup. Finally, a guy that naturally plays guard. Which, okay, and like I said, I'm very harsh on our O line because our O line was absolutely harsh to the QB. I mean, I think they gave up the most sacks. I don't think ever, but I think it was like the most sacks that we've ever given up. I think as a franchise. I can't hear you.
This past season, you saying?
Yeah, this past season.
I think Freeland only gave up maybe one sack his entire career in college.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. But like I said, we'll see, and then we'll be going over more of the picks next week because Ballard had 12.
He did.
But this one was a very, I think, was a super underrated pick. We picked up Adetomiwa Adebawari. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. You can tell us how to pronounce your name when you come on here. But yeah, so and this one, it wasn't a head scratcher as much as it was. This could be a tricky one, but this also can be a very, very good one because I mean, this guy can play at end or D tackle, but we're also talking about a guy who, as somebody who's over 250 for his size, running a 4.49 40. And of course, the 40 time isn't necessarily the thing, but it's the fact that you're running a 40 with being as big as you are.
Yeah, I think it was 6'1", 282, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a guy who could absolutely play at end, who's a strong body, or who could possibly pick up a little bit more weight and then play at D tackle. But I think you have a lot of fun options with being able to do that. But how did y'all feel about this one? Because this one, once you start going down, because I mean the RAS score was off the charts. How do we feel about this particular pick? Because this one was like, what's happening?
Yeah, once again, I think it was a great value pick. A lot of people had him ranked higher to go earlier in the draft, and he fell to us in the 4th round. Maybe 5th round.
Yeah.
I don't know. 4th.
Yeah, he fell to us. So he fell to us in the 4th round.
But he's a big guy, like you said, and he can move. Like, I think he'll definitely get some playing time this year. I'm excited I could say that about everybody that we picked up, but I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so in that case, then Josh, how do you see him potentially fitting into this particular offense? I mean defense, I'm sorry.
Well, it seems like our team loves the guys that can move around on the line. Same thing with Dayo. He can move inside and outside. And they didn't they use Grover inside and outside along with Taquan Lewis.
Well, they use Taquan Lewis. They used Taquan Lewis in both. Grover, I think they kept more inside. I think they did experiment a little bit on the outside years ago, but I think they primarily have him inside. But like I said,
And
it's just like
and Defoe is small enough to be a DN as well.
yeah, it's you know what I think like well, I mean Defoe he's gonna be inside regardless because I mean it's just like having him on the inside absolutely neutralizes any type of threat that you can have on there. So that's gonna make things a little bit more interesting or a little bit tougher. But I mean now you have somebody who you would think that at 282 pounds would be a little bit tougher, for him to get around. But I mean, he's showing that he can definitely move faster than the weight entails.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have recent Ade. And then he said, this screams Deo again, but not coming injured. Yeah, because I think, honestly, I think the Deo experiment is kind of over now because, we're going on 3 years.
He's putting in work. I think he's due. I think he's due this year. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Pay as well too, because Pay ain't at this point. Kind of still waiting on him as well.
So the thing is, I think Pay's a little bit different because Pay's biggest issue definitely has been injury, but when he's not injured, he actually has been putting up decent stats.
Yeah. It just we spent our rare first round pick, which is him, recently. He ain't really been the guy that's why we keep getting, edge rushes every year because it's non-existent right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and like I said, it's tough to quantify it because, like I said, I think Pay's been available. Pay's been available for a bunch of games. However, I think it's just like he didn't play fully in 2021, and then it's just like I think he missed about like 4 games last year as a starter. But I mean, it's just like he has a forced fumble, he has pass deflections, he has sacks, he has tackle for losses. I mean, it's just like he has assisted tackles, solo tackles. Like, I mean, last year he doubled his solo tackle amount from the year before, where he had 32 last year as opposed to 16 the year before, where you're averaging 1 a game to where you're averaging 2 a game at that point. Well, 2 point whatever. So I think it's just like, you're getting production out of him as opposed to, like I said, you're waiting for Deo to come on because remember, they also were picked one after the other. And that's where things get a little bit difficult because now you have to manage what exactly that you're looking for between the two of them. Because I think it's just like Deo has 5.5 sacks in 2 years, along with 23 solo tackles. So he has a little bit under what Kwity has, but he tripled his total from the year before. So, I mean, honestly, I think this is really just going to be to see exactly who can beat out who, because this is going to make things a lot more difficult for whoever thought that they might have had a starting spot, even for Kwity. Because if Kwity gets hurt, then he's coming for that spot.
Yeah.
He said Dale is in year 3. This will be his year to see if he can perform. And then he said, Pay is an animal. His health has been a problem. If he can get a partner on the other side, it'll help. Absolutely. And, they've tried to kind of patch that. They tried last year with Ngakoue, and Ngakoue actually did have some good pass rush highlights, but the problem was that he was an absolute liability in rushing defense.
Well, we got Samson now.
And we got Samson Ebukam, which he's better in the run, but I mean, in terms of pass rush, he's
sack production. Yeah,
it's the complete opposite. Like it's like can we get somebody who does both? Like, can
and
we please get somebody who does
Taekwon
both?
can do it, but he ain't been healthy the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, and that's gonna once again that's where we're at. But that's all that we're gonna cover in terms of these particular ones, these particular picks, because we're gonna go over the rest of the draft next week. However, I do want to make sure that we see, just do a quick check in. So, I'm gonna ask you most underrated pick that we had, and it could be anybody in the whole entire draft. Who was the most underrated pick that we had in this draft?
Darius Rush.
Darius Rush. Okay. What about you, Austin?
I think it was the 80-80 pick. I think that was Addy.
Okay.
I don't know how to say his name. I think that was the most underrated pick.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna go completely outside of that. I'm going offense. I'm going Will Mallory, the tight end that we got from Miami, because that one, I think he's a combination of receiving and blocking, and also he's another guy who's really athletic. So honestly, it's just like if he comes in and he's able to do what we think he's able to do, I think him and Woods will be like the perfect tight end complement to each other. I think that'll be like maybe the next, Gronkowski and Hernandez minus the murders. But like I said, I think that'll be like.
Don't forget Andrew though. Don't forget Andrew.
Andrew who?
Ogletree.
Oh, okay. Well, if he comes in, then fine. Like the great thing about it is that I think like we see that what the trickle down is going to be that we have guys everywhere who will be able to come in and really compete. Because one thing that we're sure from all the tight ends that we've mentioned Woods, we've mentioned Mallory, we've mentioned Ogletree. We know that Mo Ali Cox just isn't there. And I mean, he's on the wrong side of 20 for him to be able to pick it up and do what he's supposed to do. So I think now it's just like you have a lot of young competition that will be able to come in and really show. It's just like, yeah, like they're ready to come in and take spots. So, I mean, honestly, I think Mallory is probably going to be like the most underrated for me in this case. Then we have most confusing pick.
I guess I would say the running back hole.
Yeah.
Maybe most confusing. But I didn't hate that pick. It's just.
Yeah. Okay. It's just confusing as hell. But all right. Then what about you, Josh?
The same, because we get the Evans free agency running back. We cut him today, but I mean,
Darrington Evans.
Yeah, we picked him up and you cut him. So I don't know what that's about. That's confusing to me. The rest
might
of
be
them,
practice squad.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So actually, for me, I'm gonna go Daniel Scott, the safety from Cal.
Right.
And the only reason why is just because they're saying that he might be like a depth, might be somebody who needs to be developed, but also he's 25. So, I mean, he's a little bit of an older player. So, I mean, when we're talking about development, I don't
not
get
at 25.
how at 25 it's just like the development thing.
Yeah, somebody said he was a special team. He'll be like a special team specialist.
Yeah,
so
but
I think he's gonna fit the role of George Odom.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but it's just like the age and where they were saying like where he was gonna be. It was just like it just didn't make sense. But I mean, if it's special teams, then okay. Then we have a few more. Then we have one last question. Then we're out of here. So we said Hall's Naeem replacement. I think Hall, yeah, because I saw a couple highlights today, and Hall definitely does have that top end speed, that outside speed that Naeem has that we really don't have right now.
I thought Zach Moss would be that guy.
Zach Moss is the power guy. Zach Moss is definitely like above and beyond like the guy who's going to be like that in between the tackles guy. Like Jonathan Taylor is just like he's the combination of speed and power, but he has
Right.
more of that top end speed as opposed to Zach Moss, where Zach Moss just has like that like bruising, just really just like tough, like shoulder to shoulder, like hit you in the pads type bruiser power. So
So
I think
what
Hall.
about Deion then?
What about Deion? I mean, Deion Jackson might be the odd man out.
Okay, gotcha.
Because remember, Deion Jackson was the guy after JT got hurt, after Naeem Hines was gone. Like he was kind of the guy by default, where I don't think that he'll necessarily be the guy this year. I think he'll be somebody who might be able to work his way onto the roster. But I mean, the way that this offense is going to run, it's just like I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of space for anybody who isn't directly contributing outside of if somebody gets hurt.
I got you.
Then we said, "What's up, fellas? Didn't I say AR was the guy?" I'm not sure who this is, but I'm pretty sure you did. So I will go ahead and say absolutely. So
What's up, Daryl?
No, that's Daryl. Okay, because this just says Facebook user over here.
I'm assuming.
Okay, all right, yeah, because normally he comes up. Well, Daryl or Darius, whatever your name is in the alphabet. I don't know, but yeah. So ultimately, last question, and then we're out of here. How did Ballard do?
What he's supposed to do.
This. I didn't say what did Ballard. I said how did Ballard do? Jeez, relax there, okay, buddy. All right. No, I'm talking. Also, on a grade scale, you can go anywhere from A+ all the way to F-.
I got you. F for fired.
Is he?
No.
Is he?
No.
Is he?
I give him the grades that's been given through different media and networks. I give him the A+ or A-.
A-? Okay.
It's not a homer because of course everybody knows I don't like him. So I'm giving him a good grade.
Okay. All right. And so A- for Josh. And then Austin, what do you give him?
I'm not a homer either, and I'm going to go with A+.
Oh wow. Okay. So I'm gonna go, and because of the fact that Ballard addressed in this draft not once but twice the secondary and got us a wide receiver, didn't trade down in the first round like many thought he would. So this way we were able to actually, get through without needing a barf bag. I'm gonna give him an A- for this draft. I think he just to keep it simple, he drafted with a sense of urgency, and he drafted the way that you would expect him to, being that this past season was another unsuccessful season, and there were a lot of changes that needed to be made. So I give him an A- for that. So, and for anybody watching, let us know what you give Ballard. You can go ahead and comment on the HorseShoe Mob page. You can go ahead and let us know how we did. Let the people know where they can actually contact you guys. Where can they find you on social media so they can tell you whether you are right, wrong, or whether you need to shove it?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
Okay. Then we have Josh.
You can find me on Twitter at I am Josh Senior.
All right. And you can find me at CJ Colts fan. We have one last one. This user said Ballard hit the draft to me, needs and depth. And we're right there with it. So, and also you'll see that you'll see the article coming out tonight where we'll actually be talking about this past or this most recent draft and how Chris Ballard went rogue in a good way. So yeah, make sure that you go to www.fanbattlesports.com. Make sure that you go on there. Oh, also, we had our contest, and just to let everybody know, nobody won it because I don't think anybody saw this draft happening the way that it did. So good luck. We'll have more contests to come, but in this case, nobody gets anything. All right. So with that being said, people, have a great rest of your evening. Like I said, we'll see you next week where we'll be talking about the rest of the picks in the draft. And as always, please remember